Hi, and welcome to the last and final installment of me giving art feedback and critique to members of my Learn to Paint with Confidence online course. So I'm going to be just reviewing some artworks that members have sent in, and yeah, it's going to be fun. Hopefully it'll give you a bit of inspiration as well. And if you are wanting to get painting, I have a 3-step impressionistic seascape class. Have I said that right? 3-step to impressionist seascapes. And it's a free tutorial. You can follow along. I'll pop the link in the description box, and it kind of just takes you through all the steps to paint a beautiful impressionist seascape. So yeah, go and check it out, and I hope you enjoy. So let's get into our first artwork of the day, and that is Mike's. I know that you've done so many more paintings and stuff since this post, Mike. So thank you. I've just seen you go from strength to strength, and yeah, I'm really excited for you. This drawing is beautiful. I really love your mark making more than anything else. I like the way that you've kind of used, is it pencil or charcoal? I think it's pencil. And the way you've used those marks, and like the hair coming down and the eyebrows, those lines are really beautifully done. And the value is great as well. We've got a really great sense of like where the shadows are. My only little note is I feel like something is going a little bit awry with the lip area. I'm trying to zoom in to see, have you used the grid method? I'm wondering, I can just see like a little lines, which makes me wonder about the grid method. Don't worry if not, if those composition lines or anything like that. But yeah, maybe just something going on with the math a little bit. But honestly, I don't mind too much. I always prefer like a painting or a drawing to have something a little bit off, because that's how we learn. When we can spot something that doesn't quite feel right, that's like an opportunity to grow. So don't feel, I don't want you to feel like it needs to be perfect, because there is no such thing, first of all. So yeah, I generally, if it was using the grid method, I usually steer away from the grid method, because I love for artists to feel empowered by being able to draw out and about. So not having like a device to put all the grids on and all that sort of thing, because I love painting out and about and plein air and things like that, and so being able to just take something and capture that. But obviously portraits are very, very hard to do that. But awesome job, well done, and just keep on going with it. I think portraits actually are a really clever way to improve, because it was when I started, I think I did like a portrait a day or something back a long time ago, probably 10 years ago. My artwork was, I did not have the skills under my belt, let's just put it like that. And portraits force you to learn really quickly, because they show up every single thing. Whereas perhaps if it was a flower or a seascape, you could get away with a lot more. But portraits show up every mistake in the most glaringly obvious way. But actually that's the superpower, because that will like help you to see what you need to improve on and how to improve it. And that's what I did. I went through portraits. I was doing painting portraits more than drawing, but it made me realize, wow, like I need to practice this. I need to make sure I get this right. And I saw the most improvement when I was doing portraits. So portraits are a great way to improve. And this is beautiful. I love her eyes and the way she's gazing up. I think it's a wonderful reference photo to have chosen as well. So yeah, great job, and just keep on going. It's really great. I tell you something I really appreciate about this is the forehead size. So many people shorten foreheads for some reason. I don't know why, but you've got a really great visuals around the eyes, the forehead, the eyebrows, the skull shape, everything like that is just really realistic. So well done. Love it. And just keep on going. We need to see more. Oh, thank you, Natacha. This is really beautiful, very soft. I like the way her coat as well is very blended. The lines are very soft, and the eyes are so dark and the hairline so dark, and it kind of like draws your attention straight to her eyes. It's like straight where my attention goes. I feel like she's almost like looking at me, and I think it's been done very cleverly, because you've let everything around her be soft, but her eyes are very crisp and very sharp, and there's the white of the eye contrasted with the darker of the eye, and having those right next to each other is what draws your attention in so much as well. I don't know if proportion wise there's something down here that maybe feels like it's a little bit squished. It could be the photograph, or it could be the reference photo. I'm not sure because I've not seen the reference photo. But just as I was saying to Mike about his portrait as well, portraits are such a good way to kind of like get a real clear mirror view of where your skills are at. So again, I really appreciate the proportion of the hairline and the forehead as well, because it's very easy to shorten that, and you haven't. And that all just seems really great in proportion wise. So well done. Yeah, just if anything, I just sense something down the jaw feels a little bit squished, but I'm not totally sure on what reference has been used. So I'm guessing it wasn't done from life. I'm guessing it was done from maybe a book or a photograph online or something like that. But yeah, well done. It's beautiful. And just keep on going. Also, I love the lines in the hair. I feel like you've shown the direction of the hair. That is really nice, very nice mark making. And it's very subtle, but it tells us about the hair and the makeup of it. So that is a really, really nice skill that you've added there. So well done. Thank you. And hope that was helpful as well. Oh, Peter, we love a Peter artwork. We know Peter's artwork from the minute we see it. We don't need to know it's Peter's because he does these amazing, gorgeous, dreamy seascapes and landscapes. So thank you, Peter, for putting these into this feedback lesson. Honestly, I feel like with every painting you post, you take me into a new magical land. It's almost like, you know, that feeling when you're reading a book. I don't know if you are into books like novels, and you kind of like imagine a scene, and it's not like super detailed, but it's like going into a dream. And I feel like that's what your paintings are like. They take me into this dream place where, I don't know, I don't really ask any questions. I'm just like, yeah, I'm happy to be in this painting right now. I don't even know if I have any like critique to give you necessarily, because I feel like you have such a unique style that I wouldn't ever want to say anything that would take you away from that style. Just keep on painting what feels right for you. This painting is absolutely stunning. I love the composition. I'd be very intrigued to know if you made up this composition or if it's from a photograph, because it's absolutely brilliant. The way that you bring us into the painting, lead us right into the center, into the focal point of the moon, and then back down here, back down into the rocks, and then back into the foreground again. You keep us trapped in there, which is the biggest compliment ever. And it's really beautiful. It kind of reminds me of like, I don't know, like a Cornish seascape at nighttime. It's very, very mesmerizing. And then here, the only, I suppose, things I would mention about the moon, it's very difficult with the moon to have then a lot of colors, because generally at night when we have like just the moonlight, we wouldn't necessarily see vivid kind of yellow greens. It would tend to be a little bit more darker contrasts. You know, kind of like here you have blue, but everything is tinted with blue. That's probably more like what it would be like. I wouldn't necessarily say that in moonlight we would see different colors, because for that we'd kind of need more of like a sunlight coming in. But I don't think that's a problem as long as it's done intentionally. And perhaps there's another light source that's maybe like, it looks like a photograph with a flash on or something like that, that's picked up that foreground color. So it's just something to bear in mind. I don't think it's wrong or anything like that. Just something to bear in mind, that to perhaps have a look at photos of like seascapes or lakes in moonlight, and have a look at the colors that come up in those photographs to kind of get a really good sense of like what's realistic. But realistic, that isn't always the goal. So that might not be your goal. So yeah, definitely just keep experimenting. We love to see your artworks, and more. And just let us know how you feel about the comments today as well, because I don't want to discourage you in any way. So just keep painting, and they are Very beautiful. And what I love most about your work, Peter, is that you have such a clear, defined style. Like I said, I can see one of your artworks and I know it's yours already, before you even let us know. Another note as well about your signature, because I noticed that is it on with pen? Have a think about if you would feel comfortable painting it on with a thin fine liner. You know, the one, how you've kind of got these little wave marks. I'd love to see how you felt about popping your signature. It could still be your initials or it could be your name. Have a little play around with signatures, because I would like to see a signature that doesn't detract so much. I feel like it might detract a little bit from the scene. So let me know how you feel about that. It is your signature and they're your artworks. So follow your intuition with it. But it's just an idea going forward. And so thank you so much, Peter. A long time member of Learn to Paint with Confidence. So I appreciate you. Okay, so let's move on to Tina's artwork. Oh, I'm loving all these seascapes, guys. I love seascapes. I love your colors, Tina. They're very, especially this one. I love the mixture of those, that pale yellow with the blue is so pretty and it's very calming to look at. I really appreciate your values as well. I can see that in the foreground you've got your darker values, and then as the distance goes back, you've got them lighter. So definitely amazing for popping those values in. So it really helps our brain realize when something's in the distance and when something is up close. One little note about this boat, when we can see boats kind of like going off into the distance, very often there will still be, depending how close it is, I'm looking at kind of like the distance of this rock, and I would think the boat probably wouldn't be as such as like an incline, even if it's going into the distance. Very often they could be like even flat, or it could look flat but kind of just be visible rather than straight on from the side like this. It would be more kind of, you'd be able to see the top of the boat because it feels like we're a little bit higher than the boat. So I would definitely in this scenario consider using a reference. So if you want to add a boat, rather than thinking, okay, kind of like, I'll add a boat, what does a boat look like? And it's kind of got this flag. I would recommend you just even Googling like pictures of boats on seascapes, and then kind of like stealing just a little picture of a boat and just adding just the boat in if you wanted to add a boat and things like that. So definitely check in the references more, because I feel like this is built up potentially using references. So yeah, it's just the boat doesn't quite feel like aligned with the perspective. And another note for you to have a think about is colors as well, is desaturating of the colors and also having like a mixture of the colors in there. So I would recommend going back through the color theory aspect of Learn to Paint with Confidence and really building on using the mixture of the saturated and the desaturated to kind of take down some of those saturated colors a little bit, and having a nice mixture so that you can like have one main focal point with the bright kind of like popping color, which I'm guessing might be the boat in this scenario, and then the rest can kind of like not fade into the background, but more set the stage for the focal point. So yeah, I hope that's helpful, and just keep on painting, Tina. I love these seascapes. They're very calm and beautiful. I feel like I've been on holiday just looking at them. So thank you so much, and just keep on painting, and yeah, keep on posting in the community. Thank you so much, Tina. And Veronica, I think we're on our last one. Thank you so much, Veronica, for your post. This is so precious. I think it kind of reminds me of more like the botanical side of painting, like botanical art, where it's it has like the Latin names and things like that. It reminds me of that. You'd kind of find it in like books all about plants and things like that. I think, is it a magnolia? I'm not sure, but it's really, really beautiful. I love the shaping of the leaves, of the petals. It's got a very illustrative vibe to it rather than kind of like a realistic painting. It feels more illustrative, which is a really nice quality to have, especially if that's more intentional and that's kind of like the style that you want to start building up. And if it is more illustrative vibes that you kind of want to go for, I don't have a ton of notes, maybe just a few more layers perhaps. If you did want to add in a bit more of dynamic like brush strokes, techniques and texture, I'd perhaps consider adding some more colors into there as well. So rather than it kind of like one section being one color and another section being another, kind of blending those a little bit. So maybe you could pop a little bit of green into the white petals, because they'll kind of probably be reflecting a bit of green if that's their surroundings. And you could even have some different colors into the greens as well. I can see you've got like a mixture of greens, and that's really nice as well. Your color story is really beautiful, because I love the amount of green with the nice white, but you've also got some pops of this red, which is really, really nice because that contrasts so beautifully with the green, and it's a perfect amount. And I also I love the composition of the bottom two flowers. So this main one here is in a really nice focal point for the composition, and my brain really likes the placement. And this one here too, again, I really love the way just that yellow little middle of the flower just pops up, draws my eye. And the only thing, I feel like these two have been placed so that they don't go over the edge of the canvas. And they're kind of like next to each other, and they're a similar size as well. So I would definitely have a think about the composition in the next painting, and have some composition thumbnail sketches in your sketchbook, and just kind of like draw out the border of the canvas, and then just even 5 minutes per sketch, just kind of think, oh, I'll have one here, a flower here, a flower here. Does that make sense to my brain? And kind of making sure that it still feels balanced. I feel like you are so close with the composition. It's almost like 95% there. It's just feeling like these two have been almost like contained so that they don't go over the edge of the canvas. And that's okay. They definitely don't have to go over the edge of the canvas. Sometimes I like to play around with both ideas. Some of my paintings, so this one I have clearly contained most of the painting, but then I have had like a petal kind of just go off the side. But then you'll see ones more in the background, they kind of like totally go off the edges of the canvas as well. Especially, oh, how do I do this? This is like mirrored. Especially like this one, like half of the flower is completely off the canvas, and then this side not so much, but the other side is kind of like also touching and going off the edge. So it kind of feels like a little snapshot. So it's up to you if you want to do flowers that are completely confined into the canvas, or if you want to take them out as well. That's totally up to you. But I would recommend as well maybe playing around with 3 main flowers as well. So rather than having the even number, I always tend to like to go for the odd number of things, of focal points. So you could have like 1 main one and then 2 secondary ones. But that's just it's just like a very loose rule, is having like an odd number of subjects. But it is one that does tend to work. So, but it's really beautiful, and yes, keep going. Keep more paintings, please, Veronica. I love this style as well. So thank you so much for all of your entries into this video. I hope that some of my pointers today were helpful, maybe give a different perspective. Most of all, follow your intuition. You are the artist, and I'm just another opinion. So please follow your heart, follow what feels good for you. Only you can see the destination of where you want to be. So that's exciting. And I'm wishing you all lots of inspiration and, yeah, creative success as you go forward. Thank you so much to everyone who put in their paintings today. And thank you to all who watched along just for the crack of it. And as I say, I'll pop the link to that Seascape class in the description box. It shows a 3-step method to painting impressionistic seascape. So if that's something that you think you would enjoy, then please feel free to paint along, and hope you enjoy it. Thank you again for watching, and have a great week. Bye.